Just fucking do it. Subscribe now.
Last night you saw, I'm not going to ask if you could relate because you're all going to just be quiet and not say anything.
I know goddamn good and well I can relate. And what he thought was the problem was not what I thought. Sort of shit about kids and credit card bills. No, that's not good.
Well, I remember when I repossessed my house the first time. It was 1980. See, Danny would have been born. He was born in January 82, so it must have been about 7 months before I made $400 million. For me, my account. And I was on my way to Pittsburgh to sell half of my company for $250 grand. And Dan Jr. came running in my office in the spare bedroom of my house with a fax machine and, the story, I started the company. And he had a red, as they say in Kentucky, envelope. He had a red envelope. And he says, Daddy, we got a Christmas card. It was February, March. So I said, let me see that. Has your mother seen it? No. Because they used to sell foreclosure. They used to send foreclosures in red envelopes in those days because there were so many of them. They wanted to make sure that you could see your foreclosure. And the bank said that, I forget what, at noon, by such noon, something or other. And then the sheriffs were coming to collect the furniture. But our furniture didn't have any bills on it. So that was a standard letter. Because not everybody, a lot of people in the 80s bought furniture on time and shit like that. But we didn't. We paid for it up front. And give me that. It says, don't worry about it. Is Santa Claus coming again? Because we used to celebrate Christmas in January because I was never home for Christmas. Never. And so to this day, Christmas isn't a big fucking deal for us, or the kids, or our grandkids. But just think about that, you mealy-mouthed cunts. And so I'm on my way to Pittsburgh to sell to a guy, a Native American Indian tribe who's going to buy it. And I still remember we drive up to the building, and Tim Harris, who's still my lawyer, been a lawyer for 40-some years, he said, you sure you want to do this, Dan? So as the elevator's going up to the penthouse, because he was in the penthouse, and it opened in the penthouse, and I said, nah. So we just pushed the down button, went back down to the lobby, and we left. 6.5 months later, I made $400+ million. But to say that I had run out of cash, I didn't know what kiting a check meant before. Writing a check when you have no money in the bank. I didn't understand that concept. I used to think that was a fig Newton of your imagination. I didn't think that people could actually run their lives so inefficiently as they didn't have enough fucking money in the bank when they wrote checks. But I was into that process quite heavily at that time. And fear was a good word to describe how I was. But the QLA seminar is not just a seminar. It is a blueprint for creating generational wealth as fast as humanly possible. I teach you how to turn nothing into millions, billions, and even trillions. If you want to take control of your life, to create a legacy that lasts for generations, the time is now. Do not wait for the right moment. The right moment is this moment. Be bold, be selfish, be ruthless, and take no prisoners. I will still do seminars, but I won't be able to do this forever. Act now or not at your own peril. Thank you very much. There is life after death, because I've been financially dead 3 times. I've never filed bankruptcy personally, although I have used the bankruptcy laws once for companies that I've had. We did a reorg, and we came back out of it 6-8 months later. When President Trump, now President Trump, was running for office the first time, I believe he had used the bankruptcy 20 plus times. And the average meathead doesn't understand that. That's bad. Like he wants to grab a big set of tits. That's bad. you know. And not all his companies came out of bankruptcy. Some of them stayed in bankruptcy and liquidated. And everybody lost all their money, including him. Although he doesn't put any money in his deal, so he didn't really lose any money. He only lost the bank's money. And there was a Trump movie 4 or 5 years ago about where he's negotiating with the bankers he owes Deutsche Bank, I think, $600 million on a loan, which he told him quite frankly, I'm not going to pay. I have no intention of paying. What the fuck are you going to do about it? And the guys that played the German bankers aren't really like German bankers. I know what German bankers would do in that situation. And so most of the meatheads that elected the president now, and he's been sworn in, don't understand, just like some of the things you don't understand, you know. But that's who you're going to be dealing with. And I know when I said the first night or the first morning that some of the people you're going to go to buy are going to, their accounting system is a cigar box, empty cigar box with cash. And you don't believe that. And then I thought, when I went to bed that night, some of these guys may use cigar boxes as their accounting system. And we've had people in the seminar, well, what's wrong with that? That's how we, you know. And it's another world. But see, there's another virtual, you know how I say there's two worlds simultaneously going on, the one I'm in and one you're, but there's another one, the one you're going to try to buy. They don't have a motherfucking clue. They don't know February from April, Monday from Thursday. And even though the Viking Beach says, you know, you got to give them a little credit. They've been there 30 years. They fought off this, they fought off that. And they know a thing or two. Well, I don't know what a thing or two is. But there's another reality. So I don't know what beyond dual reality is, but so you're going to be more sophisticated than they are by leaps and bounds. Quantum leap advantage. She educated her banker yesterday. And to the good of her, if I remember the number correctly, $4 million to her. You'd sell your unborn child for $4 million. Just one takeaway, but she's actually been paying attention, unlike some of you in the room. We used to allow you to use the gym. We have 2 gyms here. The gyms and do all kind of shit here. But you can't handle a little leisure and still be accountable. So we don't do that anymore. I don't even want you to drink after dinner. But Sally, well, they're adults. That's my point, Sally. I still don't want them to drink after dinner. Now, 3 or 4 or 5 of you aren't drinking here. I don't really give a fuck. It's not going to make any difference. Your life is a fact pattern. And we're talking about hiring people. I was thinking about my answer to you when we have one-on-one. You're going to hire, remember you've already heard, don't hire people like me. Don't hire people that look like me. You've already heard that, right? Right? Yeah. But you can't help yourself like the nymph. You're going to hire based on the fact pattern, which is your fact patterns of life. And your daddy's fact patterns, and if you knew your granddaddy, et cetera, et cetera. And your kids, to the extent that you have kids, unfortunately, they are based the fact patterns that they see you do. And it's not what you tell them to do, it's what they see you do. And that's why guys like Michael Carling, about to turn 17, big fucking hit already, all his life, he's seen his parents work 100, 120 hours a week, didn't go to soccer matches, didn't do all the shit that you do when you raise a kid, supposedly. I didn't do any of it, but and so he knows that. And when he travels now, he travels with his in-house lawyer and in-house accountant. He's CEO. And he's been doing QLA since he's 7 or 8, more or less. So his fact pattern is significantly different than everybody in this room's fact pattern. And so when you go out and you're going to look for people, and when they say loosely, don't hire people that are like you, or don't hire people, and you're not hiring anybody, by the way. These are potential board members. You're not hiring anybody. You're availing them of the opportunity potentially to become a board member if the company ever gets incorporated. And as hard as it might be for you to believe, not necessarily this group, but there are people that spend this money here and then even go to the hardcore and never incorporate a company. There is no NewCo, ever. I shouldn't be telling you that. But I'm a full disclosure. Some of you on this list should be not incarcerated. Well, some of you have already been incarcerated. But I mean, put in a padded cell. A number of people up there, not on the Hall of Shame. A number of these guys over here are a half a step away from being incarcerated for being crazy. Not in a good way, like Elon Musk, but in a bad way. But there's no differentiation. You know, you make a lot of money. You can pay doctors to say you're well and you're not sick, and they don't put you away in the loony bin. We have a few up there. The ones that don't want to be up there, not everyone, that'd be a Trump exaggeration, but the ones that don't want to be up there, the picture, half of them should be in the loony bin. And that's part of the reason they don't want to be up there. There's no distinction. But so when we say, we want you to be the antithesis of whatever you're interviewing, and you won't know until you start interviewing. And I was thinking back about my first board with my first chairman, which is to say it's critical, to say it's crucial. I can't think of any more words, adverbs or adjectives to describe how important the chairman is. And I got Bob Anderson, the former Secretary of Treasury, and then you know how you're worried about the stock that you're going to give him, and he gave me back his 18%. And you heard the Viking bitch say, the lawyer that was leaving, she was classy, she gave me my stock back. See, the thing that you worry about most, because you got no balls, doesn't happen. Doesn't happen. Unless you really, really fuck up. And then I thought about it when I was brushing my teeth, standing on my own foot. But if you want to test, brush your teeth standing on one foot, your upper teeth and your lower teeth standing on the other foot with no assistance. Let me know tomorrow. Well, but you may not brush your teeth between now and tomorrow. But anyway, try brush your teeth even if you weren't going to brush your teeth. And you'll be surprised. It's surprised. It's just like that, you know, when I asked you to, pictures of your hands, and there's 3 or 4 tests, and they all work. And when they all say the same thing, guess what? And this says the same thing, guess what? When I say you're fucked, you're fucked. No matter what you do, but you can still get rich. See, you equate now not having any money as probably being fucked. I don't. $1 million for each and every one of you in this room is not going to help you materially, yeah, with things you can buy. But between here, not going to change a motherfucking thing. And we have billionaires that are unbillionaires. That's not proper English, but you know what I mean. They lost the money. They lost the money. But Limitless, or the fear thing from last night, and I didn't realize he has 2 brothers and cousins. They all look kind of alike. And we saw a movie on the plane, and then Sally said, "What did you think of so-and-so?" I said, "You mean the guy I used in the seminar?" He says, "Yeah." And anyway, he has a brother, and there's 2 or 3 of them that make movies and stuff like that, and they're very successful in these war movies, etc. But all the stuff that he's done, and I think I've done. And I didn't have 2 buddies, mates there standing with me cheering me on. When I jumped off the stratosphere in Vegas, which is kind of a neat experience, about 900 feet high, and it cost about $300. And one of my buddies who lives in Vegas gave it to me for my birthday when we were there 2-3 years ago. And there was a big, overweight, fat black gal that was there. And her fiance says, if you don't jump, we ain't getting married tomorrow. I'm trying to not shit myself. I'm laughing so hard. And they got you all strapped up and all this shit. And 2 of her girlfriends were there, equally as big mamas. And she says, fuck him, piece of fucking nigger trash. And I'm trying to concentrate. So when I jump out, so although it's on YouTube and it shows me landing on my feet, well, we doctored that because I didn't land on my feet. I landed on my head. It's almost impossible to not land on your feet the way they throw you out. But I landed on my head and my shoulders. So for posterity, we decided I did a second, and I just jumped on the ground, and that's the one that's on the film. But it's kind of a neat experience. I've done that shit like that before. But I still remember that. And then the next, they got married. They were also staying at the Bellagio we were staying at. And so they had their wedding party there, and I almost went up to her and said, well, was it worth jumping? And she jumped, and she landed on her ass. And the way she was built, I could see how she would land on her ass, just with gravity, you know. But you don't want people like you. Not even remotely close. And you heard the Viking bitch, which there's still a few minutes left of her. You don't want these people to be your friends. If they're your friends, something's wrong with their life. I'm going to say it again slow. If they're your friends, something's not right with them. Ergo, you shouldn't have them as your supreme being board that's going to help you get rich. Something ain't right. And those are the people that you're going to be gravitate towards the easiest, because those are the people that don't threaten you. I don't mean physically, but emotionally. I said the first night, if you like me at the end of the seminar, I did something fucking wrong. Big time. Now, a few of you already know I don't like you. Any comments about Limitless? Okay, YouTube.